Hey, everybody, welcome back to the RGR Football channel on YouTube. My name's Daniel Harms. Last week, I went ahead and did my very first mock draft for the RGR channel. Make sure you tune in Thursday for Ryan's. He's going to have one brand new for you guys. But today, we're going to talk about some offensive tackle prospect. Now, the Chiefs have a very interesting possibility that they're not going to be having either Eric Fisher or Mitchell Schwartz to start the season next year. That puts them in a bit of a bind, as we saw in the Super Bowl. So I think that in the first three picks, they're going to be targeting some offensive line players, whether it's interior or it's tackle. And there are some very good possible tackles to have in this class. And I think that it gets deep from the very mid of the or end of the first round into the second and possibly third round at offensive tackle. And there's one guy who I know I've seen quite a few Chiefs fans talk about in terms of second round picks, and that's Dillon Radunz out of NDSU, North Dakota State. He's definitely a guy that I can see the Chiefs looking at. He's got more of an athletic build. He fits into their zone scheme, what they want to do. He's not a typical ground and pound power type of tackle like the Chiefs are not accustomed to drafting. He fits more of the Eric Fisher mold. He's not as big in terms of stature, length, but he's got the size in terms of weight that you want at tackle. He's about 6'5", and he's about 315, and that fits the mold of what the Chiefs are looking for at tackle. They want someone who can be more athletic and move with their and really allow them to do most things they want in their zone blocking scheme. So let's go ahead and jump into some of his tape. And I think one of the things that we're going to start off with, just how he operates in the run game and how they have used him in the run game. But first off, he was their starting left tackle. But right on this very first play, he's out here playing as essentially an extra offensive lineman on the right, almost a tight end ish. So I want to just kind of note that for you guys. But Radunz is an interesting prospect to my eyes because when you're looking at more of the lesser known schools, granted NDSU is more of a powerhouse where they play, but you want to see some guys that are more dominant at their position from some of the smaller schools. And when I was watching his tape, I didn't exactly get the notion that he was one of the most dominant tackles at his position. But you want to see right here is the effort that he consistently plays with on a every snap basis, and he gets to the second level very well, and he moves with linebackers and secondary members pretty well in his blocking. He's always looking to finish to the ground as well. That's one of the things that I've really noted about his tape. And the fact that NDSU used him the way that they did, they don't pull a lot of their offensive linemen very much, but this is what they used with him a lot. Even as a left tackle, they would have him block down. As a left tackle, they would have him block down and get to the second level. But here, he's just going to get out there on this incoming linebacker anyway, just because he's a much better mover in space than he does have contact strength. So that's one of the things that they did a lot of. They didn't ask him to always win one-on-one matchups, and they used him in ways that best suit his skill sets, allowing him to get under the second level and get to those linebackers and really move them down the field for the running backs. He's back at left tackle right here. Some more tenacity. He doesn't have that contact strength that I was just talking about, but the way that he plays in the run game, it's what you want your tackles to play with. He's always looking to get guys to the ground, and that's one of the areas that you can really tell that he does not want to give an inch, even though sometimes he does. So he's going to get to the second level here, and he's just going to bully this linebacker multiple times. He sees him try to get back up, and he continuously tries to get him to the ground. And again, like I said, blocks down, gets to the second level, into the ground, up, and then back down to the ground. He's a guy who plays with a lot of energy and effort at the tackle position. And that's something, again, I can see the Chiefs wanting from a possible development guy. And I think that he does have some room to grow here. Like I said, I've mentioned before, he's not the most physically imposing player. He does not have the contact strength that you ideally would want from a more athletic guy coming into today's NFL. They still need to be able to move. And that's the Chiefs really like that. So here, again, blocking down on this nose tackle here and getting up into where 48 is going to end up being and try to push him out of the way because he's trying to open up this A gap for the running back. They don't do a great job everywhere else of picking up the blocks. 20 is going to come here and fill properly and get that block. But again, he does two things on this one play, and he blocks 94 completely out of the picture. Then he takes 48 and then turns him out of the way. And that's one thing he does very well as a tackle. If he's asked to win one-on-one situations, he's definitely more of a turner than he is a just bowl you over kind of guy. And he has the ability to play smarter football and again block down and get himself into a better leverage position to make the blocks necessary to win at the end of the day. And that's something that is more speaking to his football IQ. I think he's got pretty high football IQ. Again, getting to the second level, just pushing guys, pushing, always to the whistle blows. He does not like to stop early. He's definitely a guy who will always give you 110% with what he's doing. And again, just get out of here. He just tells everyone that he gets on in the second level to get out of here. As I'm showing you all this, a lot of this again is that he's not blocking one-on-one situations. That for me is a little bit of a red flag for him as a tackle because you want them to be able to win those situations. And the fact that he's not asked to a whole lot with this offense, especially considering who they've played, it's a little concerning for me. And I know that the Chiefs with their zone blocking scheme again, it helps him because he's on the move when he's asked to block defensive tackles or defensive ends. It's definitely easier and better for him to move guys when they're moving as well. But he does get to the second level very well, probably among the best in this class that I've seen so far. And that's it definitely says something. They can use that kind of ability. I wouldn't necessarily rule out the possibility that he could play inside. I think that yeah, he's a really big guy, but with that contact strength issue, I think he has the versatility to play both inside. So every position outside of center, I think he does have that ability, and especially with the fact that he's going to be able to get more double teams on the inside. I think that that's something you can really look at as a positive. Say Mitch Schwartz comes back next year and Eric Fisher comes back, the year after that, and they're able to get something moving there. They might be able to move him inside and change some things around. So now let's go ahead and get into his some of his pass set issues really quick. This is him, obviously a left tackle. He's getting ready to get into his 45-degree pass set for offensive tackles and really anybody. There are three the most commonly used pass sets. You have aggressive, which is you're going to take a step right at this defensive end here. You have your 45-degree, which is pretty obvious. You're just going to take a 45-degree angle outside of where you are. And then you have vertical pass sets where you're just going straight back. Now, the Chiefs don't use vertical pass sets because that's not what they're really good at. They don't take guys that can use that to their advantage and that get the leverage that they need in that. They use mostly 45 with throwing in some aggressive pass sets in them through when they're asked to pass block. So here he is again in his 45 and some strength issues here. The bull rush has been more of an area that I think that defensive ends can use counters with. He does have some ability to jump step himself back. That's where you take both feet off the ground. You hop back, allow yourself to regain leverage with your hands inside and get control of that situation again. But here, this is more of what we've seen a lot from Eric Fisher. You watch his hands right here. He's waiting for the defensive end to really make his move. He gets inside on the tackle, and then he's forced to then come up outside here, get his hands up on the shoulder pads a little bit too much. That's going to get you into positions like this, especially in the NFL with guys who are much stronger, much faster. He seems to wait too much for what the defensive end is going to do. You need to be more predictive and maybe throw some hands at him, maybe get him to slow down a little bit, think about what you're going to do instead of waiting for him to just bull rush into you. So I have seen some inconsistencies with his hand usage. When he gets his hands inside, he's actually quite good and he can really use that to his advantage and get some of that recovery that we just talked about with that hop step backwards and with bull rushes. But again, the hand usage to the outside needs to be trimmed up a little bit, and his I don't find a whole lot of sense of urgency to get into his 45-degree pass set. He seems a bit lackadaisical in that sense, and that can really mess you up at the next level with guys who are much faster off the edge. This is one of the only plays that I found where they used him, excuse me, as getting out in space. He does have some movement skills, and I think it's kind of important to highlight that because like I've mentioned before, we all see how the Chiefs like to get multiple offensive linemen out moving. So here he is again, left tackle. Where are you? There you are. Now, this is actually not only a really smart play by him, but it shows you, like I said, he does not give up when he's trying to get outside. He gets to you, and then he makes sure that you're done and out of the way before he moves on to the next guy. And this all sets up really beautifully. Obviously, you have the running back coming out of the backfield here. He knows he's got to get outside as well to help lead block. If you're just going to take a step in that direction and just keep moving upfield, that allows this defensive end here to also kick out with you the possibility of forcing the running back inside to help. He knows that, so he's gonna take a jab step inside, force this defensive end upfield a little bit, then you're just gonna swat him to the side. That's the kind of thing that you want to see from a tackle as well. Like I said, the football intelligence that he has is definitely next level. And again, he's just gone. Like, look at this. This is really fun to watch. He's all the way in here. Like, this is not going anywhere. Now he knows he's gonna get on number one and he's gonna just drive him to the sideline. That's the kind of football intelligence, football IQ, whatever you want to call it, to me, to set up players to make them do what you want them to do. Now that needs to extend more into the pass set. And once he's able to do that, I really think you're going to have something here with this guy. He's got a lot of the physical tools. And I think obviously as a rookie, you can work on the physical contact part and the contact strength thing. But again, that's something that I think that in his game offers in terms of football IQ and being one of the smarter players on the field. It's one of the reasons that, Eric Fisher was drafted so highly. He had football IQ and he had athleticism. You can do that. You can mold that to the NFL, make them a little bit more physical and get them stronger as rookies and sophomores and so on and so forth. And that can really lend themselves to it. So here you've got him against number 90. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about with terms of lesser talented defensive ends. You're going to see here that he's not the fleetest of foot trying to go back and forth. But again, watch the footwork of Radunz here. And that's where you really want to hone in on, because you can mold this here. Watch his feet. They don't stop moving. And when they do, he's able to pivot back. He puts himself into better positions to make plays or to make blocks. So here, upfield, he's outside, he's engaging. Again, look, he's got really good his hands on the inside here, forcing the defensive end to have hands on the outside, which gives you obviously an edge up here. And now he's going to be able to move back inside with him. He as soon as he feels that hand on his inside arm, he knows to move inside with the defensive end. Again, like I said, not the fastest guy, but you can see what I'm talking about with that footwork. When you're able to pair and mirror your footwork with the defensive end, you're going to win every single time, mostly. And that's the technique that you really need to go into the next level and work at it. And again, keeping him in front of you, a good job here. Turning to the side, knowing you have an athletic quarterback in Trey Lance. He needs to get out of the pocket, go for it. So again, I think there's a lot of things to like from his tape. Excuse me. And one thing that I noticed a lot from his run blocking is that he's more of a turner. We talked about that earlier. And it is a part about his game that you can utilize, especially for the Chiefs, who like to run power or different counter concepts off of blocking down here, pulling a guard, even, having the fullback come here too, tight end, whatever it is, and allowing Radunz to do what he does best and block down and turn his shoulders towards the defensive line, more towards the rest of the defense, and get to what he does best. That's really what the Chiefs can do with this guy, especially because he blocks better, blocking down, getting movement in his zone concepts. So that's really one of the things that I liked about his tape a lot. And then here's that what is that recovery I was talking about to really close this out here. Again, Radunz, the left tackle. Let's go ahead. Just watch him bounce up and down right there to gain that strength. This is the kind of thing you want to see from your left tackle or any tackle when they're taking a bull rush on. Let's slow it down just a little bit here so you can really see there it is. That's a really good pass set too. He gets out and then he jumps slightly, more of a hop again, and prevents that defensive end from getting through. Now that's just kind of, this is actually a very fluid, nice pass that he gets out. He's got his hands up and he's ready. That's exactly the kind of thing that starting level, tackles in the NFL do on a regular basis. We saw Mitch Schwartz 2 years ago in the playoffs decimate everybody essentially. He didn't allow anything to come through his side from a pass rush perspective. He was so good at getting to his spot before the defensive end. And then as soon as he gets there, he faces that bull rush. He jumps right there, that hop step, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about with the leverage back up right here. You've got this nice line right here. Gives you all the leverage back, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He can continue working on that, developing some of these skills that we're talking about here. He's got an opportunity to be something in the NFL. I'm more worried about his contact strength and things of that nature coming into and starting immediately. So when I see him projected to the Chiefs around the second round, for me, it's a little too rich. I think that he is not that player yet. He can be, and taking him in the second round is an opportunity to show what he can do with a full NFL offseason, an NFL weight training program. I think that he's got a lot of potential, and he's got the abilities and the raw assets to be able to do so. But again, I'm more seeing a guy who's not dominating at the lower tier Division I schools, which, like I've said, is a kind of a red flag for me. So I think that with some weight training and things like that, he could definitely be a very good tackle in the NFL. Maybe not top 10 or anything like that, but you're not necessarily looking for a top 10 guy. He's got more than enough physical abilities, athleticism, and mental, the football IQ to prosper in the Chiefs offense if they were to draft him. I'd be more comfortable with a third round pick myself on him. If he falls to the third round, yeah, go ahead, you take him. I'm more than okay with that. But right now, as it stands, I don't think he's a second round pick. And that's not anything against him. It's just what I'm seeing on tape. And again, that's going to vary from person to person. So I hope you guys liked watching his tape. I'm going to get more into this as we go along. I'm hoping to get some of the top tackles in the class just to look at myself to compare to where the Chiefs are going to have their draft picks at the end of the first, possibly trading down from there. So this is a lot of fun. Talking tackles and offensive linemen is a lot of fun for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, anything you guys want to see in terms of offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, anything you guys want, just go ahead and put it in the comments. Ryan and I will get to it as soon as we can. And thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.